Hi all, I'm Cullen Haynes and welcome to Live with Cullen Haynes, Law Live episode 68. And I'm joined by an absolutely visionary founder based in Kansas. The time is 9:07 over there right now. Has been in the legal world, been an attorney, senior attorney for over 27 years and has her fantastic company. Wears many hats, which we'll get into, but her latest venture, which is fantastic, is BH2O. Can you please make very welcome, wherever you're joining from, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, or otherwise, the one, the only Miss Trina Nudson. Trina, welcome to Live with Cullen Haynes. It's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Cullen.
It's fantastic. And no tornadoes or anything like that. It's all stereotypes in The Wizard of Oz, right?
Oh, no. Yesterday there were tornadoes, Cullen. So not today, though.
Gosh. Oh my God. Okay, you got to stay safe. But you're a bit, I would say the way you work and approach life is like a tornado. You get so much done. I was talking offline with you. You wear many hats between your legal practice, social work, the Layne Project, and obviously this latest venture, the BH2O. What does a day in the life of Trina Nudson look like for anyone joining now and watching? We're getting a few people everywhere.
There's not a typical day in my life, to tell you the honest to goodness.
Oh my gosh. There you go.
I'm doing a lot less attorney work. I'm doing a lot more entrepreneurial work, scaling impact.
Love that.
I do a lot. I keep my hand on the pulse, though. So I will at times appear in front of the judge representing a child, or dealing with co-parenting case, doing co-parenting coaching or training coaches. More recently, I've been learning how to pitch as I'm creating a new tech. Last week, I pitched in front of Shark Tank.
That is so exciting.
But you'll never know what the day has to hold. It's 9:07 at night, and I'm doing a podcast with someone from Australia. So,
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I think we were talking offline in a few years, 3, in fact, obviously another one of your children will be finishing high school. I think you'll be coming over to celebrate. So I'm excited to grab a coffee in person when you do that.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. But in terms of your life journey, if you could, it is a fun little question we ask all our guests. If you could explain life using just film titles, what are we talking? What would you say in terms of just film titles? How would you explain your life? It can be one, it can be multiple.
I would say against all odds, Cullen.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. That's an oldie but a goodie, surely.
Yes. I never would have thought, Cullen, that I'd be where I'm at right now. I certainly never envisioned myself being an entrepreneur. Nonetheless, having started 3 business ventures. So it's not where I saw myself when I went to school and started off as a foster care social worker.
Amazing. But obviously that's where you got the, I guess, the bug to do what you do. Would you say that was quite impactful to make the shift to, I think you said you were influenced by some judges as well that you were seeing that were making an impact as well?
Yeah, so I was a foster care social worker. I only last about a year. Got really frustrated with that system, Cullen. And then my then boyfriend, now husband, said, "Who makes a difference?" I said, "Attorneys and judges." He said, "Go be one of them." So I quit my job. 3 months later, I was in law school. I finished that in 26 months, appeared in court for about 5 years, and found that the divorce arena was the child in need of care arena with no services in place. So I needed to go out on my own. That's when I opened my child advocate, my law firm, and the Layne Project, my social service agency.
Fantastic. And well, you built, some incredible organizations focused on the family law and child advocacy. I would love to ask, your focus is now going into the BH2O, project. I'd love to get a little bit of insight as to what that is, what that entails. So anyone who's watching either in Australia or otherwise can maybe help.
So Cullen, they didn't teach me how to run a business in law school, and they sure as heck didn't teach me how to run it in the School of Social Welfare. I learned it through the School of Hard Knocks. I have no clue how I stayed in business from 2008 to 2014. But really, when I started taking a deep dive in entrepreneurial literature and doing business coaching and things in that regard, what I really found is that if I could get parents to really take on the entrepreneurial mindset, they could improve their bottom line, which was their child's well-being, as well as their own well-being. And so I started incorporating entrepreneurial literature into my work with co-parents. In 2015, I saw the court ordering co-parenting therapy very frequently in almost every case, and it wasn't working. It was just another form to throw dirt, and we were losing a lot of ground. So I put my hat out there and said, I'm going to start doing an 8-week co-parenting program. The courts began to order it, and believe it or not, my participants who didn't even want to be a part of the program said the 8 weeks wasn't long enough. So in 2020, we turned it into 16 weeks and rebranded it to be called BEH2O. BE stands for beryllium, which is a strong but flexible metal, and H2O is water. So that in essence is the Be Water strategy.
I love that.
It has been transforming lives. It has been absolutely amazing.
Oh, it's incredible. And with all the hats that you've worn, corrections officer, case manager, DEA intern, obviously attorney, and the social work, how have those hats shaped what you do today? I mean, obviously there's probably a collective, but what are the main things that you find have helped you on your journey?
It's really been the experience in the trenches. I'd like to say that my program is built on research, and it is definitely supported by research, but it's really my experience that has built the program in and of itself. Also, a great deal of awareness and growth within myself. So I talked to you earlier about a gentleman by the name of Darren Mort. I'm sure many of you in Australia are.
Shout out to Darren.
Hi, Darren, if you can hear me. He was on a training with Bruce Cullen, who is a retired judge now out of Arizona. And Judge Cullen said, parents don't do this in spite of their kids. They do it for their kids, and they're scared. And that really rung true for me. So as a guardian ad litem, which is an attorney that represents a child's best interest, that's what it's called in Kansas, I always took the mindset, my mission has always been safeguarding childhood, Cullen. It always has been. And the courts would order me as the guardian ad litem if they didn't want to go to trial. They wanted a case resolved, Trina would do it. And I did a good job resolving cases, but unfortunately, I don't really feel like I did a great job safeguarding childhoods. And what I mean by that is I used my own why to undermine my why. What does that mean? Well, I would look at parents and say, why the hell would you do this to your kids? Do you know what you're doing to them? And they would leave my office more dysregulated than they entered. So I wasn't setting them up for success. And once I started realizing that and meeting them where they were at and helping them to feel seen and helping them shift their mindset, that's when I truly started safeguarding childhoods. And that's what we do in BEH2O. As I started doing that, Cullen, I started doing less and less law. And then in 2024, I decided I can't keep BEH2O in Kansas. So in October 2024, I started my first beta group. I trained 8 BEH2O coaches, and this last April, I trained 8 more. And then I gifted, in July of this year, I'm gifting my infrastructure to a nonprofit that I found it called the Layne Project for families, so we can extend our reach. And I can start scaling by training other people how to do BEH2O and create a tech platform called Be Aligned.
That's amazing. Amazing. So anyone looking to get in there, I'll put that in the show notes for sure. But switching gears a little bit, let's talk about party planning. You made it known that you're known for epic attention to detail. How does that creativity like party planning show up in your professional world, do you think?
Gosh, it's so much shows up, Cullen. It's kind of ridiculous. I don't know if you're familiar with William Ury. He wrote a book called Possible. And
I have.
It's an amazing book. If you haven't read it, it's amazing. But he talks about hosting. And so as I'm reading the book, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I do. So in BEH2O, when it's in person, we actually have a breaking of the bread. So last night I graduated a group of 7 co-parenting pairs, 14 co-parents. And what did we do? we had a party. I served Italian food and we ate and we celebrated. It's that connection. And I think that's what it is. It's really helping people feel seen, helping people feel hosted. And I love doing it. I love doing it in my personal life. I just put on my daughter's graduation party. We had a food truck, and it's just being able to make sure that everyone feels seen, and having that connection.
I think it's an amazing thing that you recognize that it's so important to let people be seen and celebrate the wins and the good times. I don't think we do enough of that, especially in this world where we just talk about what's going wrong. It's great to celebrate the wins, and I'm glad you do that. And probably on the similar thing, it seems like you take a brighter approach to life after you've had a particularly tough day, navigating conflict in the courtroom or with a family. How do you decompress? Please tell me it involves snacks or something like that.
I do like snacks. I do like a lot of snacks. I don't mind putting down a beer or two. But really, it sounds odd, but I don't only celebrate the victories, Cullen. I celebrate the losses because they're truly an opportunity to learn. So when my co-parents fall down, I champion them and say, this is awesome that you fell down. That's awesome. It was a horrible session because now we can get back up again. And
That's
so
it.
I celebrate the wins as well as the losses because
I
it's
love that.
always an opportunity.
Fantastic. Celebrate both the losses and the wins because you're sometimes you win and sometimes you learn, as I think Wayne Dyer, the late great Wayne Dyer, used to say back in the day. But if you're tuning in, we're streaming live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, X, Instagram Live. If you've got a question for this absolute behemoth, we're interviewing Trina Nudson all the way from Kansas. So please put your questions in the comments. I'll do my best to shout them out. We're about halfway through the stream right now. And, shout out to Legal Home Loans, who this podcast is brought to you by. And let's get into some more questions. Are there any passion projects or anything else you're working on right now that you're able to share? Obviously, the Shark Tank, very, very exciting. I think there was a reality show as well that may be coming out that people can tune into too.
Yes, so I take the mindset that any opportunity not taken is an opportunity lost. So I didn't even know what the Blocks was. It's BLOX, and it's an entrepreneurial reality show. So I interviewed it, and the next thing I'm on a casting call. So I was casted for that. But what is my passion project is a tech platform called Be Aligned. And what is Be Aligned? Is we don't oftentimes see how co-parenting conflict impacts multiple layers of our lives. So childcare providers, schools, the co-parenting conflict is pulled into those arenas, and people like teachers and childcare providers, they aren't asked to be put in the middle, but that's where they're being placed. The number one predictor of whether or not our children will succeed in school is parental engagement. But when communication breaks down, parents don't only disengage, they get defensive. Wow. And we really lose sight of that. So my passion project is a platform called Be Aligned, which is supporting providers such as childcare providers and schools and how to equip them with scaffolding to help find common goals for parents so that parents feel seen and can feel engaged, but providers are removed from the middle. So I feel like we do a lot of putting Band-Aids on problems. But if we really worked on system solutions, we could really end the polarization and really focus on our kids.
No, it's a good point. And I think you help people survive, I think, and try and thrive. I think we're getting some great comments from Twitch. Brutal Honesty for You says you should definitely be on the show Survivor. I think it's that tenacity in you that you've got there, Trina. So yeah, shout out to Brutal Honesty for You. There's some pretty cool comments that are coming through. Where do you see the future of family law and child advocacy heading into the next decade? What do you think?
Well, if I have anything to do with it, Cullen, we're going to prevent the problems before they actually hit the courtroom. So people don't know what they don't know, Cullen. So very well-meaning, well-intentioned individuals like childcare providers, like teachers, like even mental health professionals or healthcare providers, they unintentionally polarize these families. So if
Yes.
we can educate them on what it looks like to be William Ury's third side and end the polarization, then we're going to really safeguard childhoods. And we're not going to see the same amount of conflict that we presently see in the courtroom. So I feel like there's a lot of the legal profession that's putting Band-Aids on issues by focusing on, let's represent the kids in court, let's do this, that, and the other. And where that's all well and good, that's not enough for me. We have to create system change.
Has to be system change. I love that. It's getting to the root cause rather than the symptom, right? I think is the big thing. And in your long and storied 27-year career, Trina, you've seen it all. You must have seen it all. What do you think the most unusual or unexpected request you've ever received from a client or case or a matter you've been working on?
I don't know. You know what? I don't really make a lot of friends initially. I say that initially. Moms say I favor dads, and dads say I favor moms. So I guess I just don't favor people in general because, right, no one's happy. I'm just focused on the child, not in it to make that.
Of course. A mediator once told me that if both parties are unhappy, that's a good thing. I don't know if you subscribe to the same belief.
Well, that's what I used to prescribe to, but now I really am entrenched and focused on, let's just make sure everyone's seen. Let's make sure we host everyone, because if we can do that, then we can get them to buy in. But in my early years as a guardian ad litem, one particular gentleman that was very upset with me and didn't want to pay my bill, he sent me a box of pennies.
Oh my gosh.
It probably took more money to mail me the box of pennies than was actually in the box of pennies. I think it was like $55 in the box of pennies. And he told me that I needed to find the 2 unique pennies within this box. And if I found them and sold it, then it would be able to pay his bill.
It sounds so bizarre.
That's what you deal with. You deal with bizarre because people aren't their best selves. They're in the trenches. They're scared. And what's coming out of their mouths isn't who they truly are, but who the judge is seeing in the courtroom is who they think that person is. But really, they're in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn.
I think someone explained to, like, there's 2 wolves in your life. One's, I guess the happy version. Then there's the hungry wolf that's always maybe angry and behind the scenes. And you're seeing the mask slip, as it were, and you are seeing people in their true selves because they are in an emotional state. And I'd love to get your thoughts, because I've got a lot of family lawyer friends and colleagues and advocates out there who I'm connected with. And they always talk about the other side, like the lawyer stirring the pot or the attorney stirring the pot just to keep the matter going. And I don't know if that's a problem you see in the States of the lawyer interjecting themselves personally and making the matter worse rather than trying to de-escalate it. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
I think that happens far too frequently, but I don't think that the attorneys know that they're doing it. So let me just do a little tidbit. So I run a group for attorneys. It's called the Resiliency Group. So it's attorneys that are going through really hard times, supporting them to become more resilient. And then I recently, so though I have small businesses, I didn't really know what it was like to run a startup, which is completely different. You're scaling really fast. So I recently entered the founder community in my area. And the difference of the two is this. In the founder community, when I reach out to fellow founders and I say, I have no clue what the hell I'm doing, the response is, none of us do, Trina. Can you imagine an attorney going to another attorney and saying, I don't know what the hell I'm doing? You would be shamed, blamed, judged. You'd have the scarlet letter on you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think it's more of a mindset, right? As an attorney, we have to be right. And so whether that's speaking to our clients or whatever it is, until we change that paradigm to be more like, oh, I'm smart enough to know that I don't know everything, right? then we're going to start to learn and grow. So if we could incorporate the founder's mindset into the attorney mindset, I think we could break through. Haven't figured out quite how to do that. It's a new realization that I've had.
Well, I'd love to ask you, it's a good question. If you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about the legal or social work system, would it be that, or would it be something else?
It would be the polarization. I think that is what it would be, because everyone wants to be right rather than get it right. So if we start at focus on our why, Simon Sinek talks about his why.
Find your why.
And so when I work with my co-parents, that's the number one thing we do. We find our shared why, our shared purpose, our shared goal. And then it becomes less about being right and more about getting it right. And what can we say or do to help us support our goals rather than undermine our goals?
I put it in there. Find Your Why, book by Simon Sinek. And Brutal Honesty again from the Twitch downtown says he'd like to see a tip. So what's one key piece of advice you'd give for young professionals just starting out in law or social work today?
Really figure out who you are and what you value, and embody that. Embody the values you wish to instill in others. So that person, that pain in the butt attorney, ring,
Yes.
right? You want to answer the phone and you are furious, but you must embody the values you wish to instill in others. The other thing that I would say is one of my biggest lessons was I used to answer the phone all the time. Didn't matter if I was in the grocery store line, in the pharmacy with my kids on vacation. It didn't matter, Cullen. I always answered the phone. And then I get really upset. Why won't these parents leave me alone? But I trained them, right? I trained them that I was always available. So my best advice, I guess, for an attorney or a social worker or anyone is this. I create boundaries not because I don't care, but because I do care. So I don't answer the phone, but I tell my clients, you're going to call me and I'm not going to answer the phone. My assistant's going to pick up the phone and they're going to schedule a call with you. Yes. Why? Because you deserve my 100% attention. And if I was answering the phone all day, every day, no one would get my 100% attention.
No.
I'm not answering the phone, not because I don't care, but because I do care. And so laying those boundaries and really, really following those.
I love that. I think that's so important. And I think you set some time for deep work time every day. For me, it's like the 2 to 5 period. And then you get those calls done, you get those things done just so you can get back to people. I think it's amazing. But wrapping this up as well, I wanted to get your thoughts. It's a little bit, I guess, stoic, thinking maybe a bit morbid. But how would you like to be remembered one day, Trina, when all is said and done? Professionally or personally?
I don't know, that I never backed down, that I was able to iterate, and that I didn't really see anything as a failure, but rather as an opportunity to learn. That I kept going and I was guided by my North Star of safeguarding childhoods, whatever it took. But yes. I was able to iterate. I was able to be strong by my values, but flexible. I was BEH2O.
I love that. I love that. And where can people find you? Where are you hanging out the most, Trina? Where can we get in contact?
You can definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn. It is a wonderful place to connect. You can find out more about BEH2O at www.thelayneproject.com. Layne is spelled Layne. Right now, my direct service provision is still housed under the Layne Project, but come July, that is being transferred to the Layne Project for families, and the Layne Project is going to be focused on consulting work, training people to do BEH2O professionals, as well as creating my Be Aligned platform. So if there's anyone out there that is interested in learning about Be Aligned and wants to help someone out and growing some tech, please reach out.
Come on, you heard it here first. BH2O, get aligned and reach out to this behemoth. Thank you so much for joining us, Trina. It's been an absolute pleasure to hear your wealth of knowledge and insights, and we'll bring you back for some bonus questions. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks so much, Cullen.
Thanks so much, and really appreciate everyone tuning in. Brutal Honesty saying good job to you both. Thanks, Brutal Honesty. If you're a legend alone or know someone who is in law, please feel free to reach out. More than happy to get you on. I think we've got everyone booked in for this year, but we're starting to look at next year. And Ledger Legends, our accounting podcast, if you'd like to get on the show, I think there might be some cheeky spots at the end of this year. Thank you to Legal Home Loans for supporting this podcast, which is where I'm from. And in terms of where you can hear more about it, obviously, please subscribe to the podcast. We're on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get it. And I've just come out with my new book, The Laws of LinkedIn, 23 ways to build your following and scale your income to 7 figures on LinkedIn. So yeah, grab that. That's how we built our business over the last 7 years. Really appreciate it. Hope you're well, everyone. Bye for now. Take care. We're bringing Trina back. We've got 3 small questions we'd like to ask. How do you explain your role to your family? How do you do that?
So I was invited to my children's grade school one year, and I made 500 glitter jars. Don't know if you know what a glitter jar is, but it has
It's a
water.
jar with glitter in it.
Yes, and water.
And
Colin,
water. And there you go.
So this is how I described it to the grade school. I shook up the jar, I shook up the jar, and the glitter was everywhere. And so what do? I settle families down.
I love that. So hopefully there's still glitter, but it's not everywhere else.
It's not everywhere else. It's all settled down.
I absolutely love that. And not many people know this. You have an office hedgehog called Daryl. How would Daryl describe you, do you reckon?
That I don't give up. I'm pretty darn tenacious, Cullen. I thought it would be really cool to have a hedgehog. I thought that he would climb up in my lap and cuddle with me. That is not true. He does not cuddle. But if you're calm and you're patient and you take your time with him, he opens up. And that's very much like my work with co-parents.
I absolutely love that. And final question for this whole stream, and we'll end it for everyone joining. If you could give your advice, go back in time, give yourself advice at any age, whether it's 16, 26, or 30, which is what you are now. What advice would you give to yourself? And what would that? What age would you be, do you think?
I don't know. I was asked this question before, and I think it would be I was 5, and I would tell myself nothing. I would literally tell myself to just keep going, because every failure that I have made, every time I've fallen down, I've gotten back up and learned something. So honestly, I wouldn't change a single darn thing about my life. It hasn't been easy, Cullen, but it's been pretty darn amazing. And so just keep going, because there's a reason behind everything.
I love that. I'm sure it was Dory who said, just keep swimming in that Finding Nemo. So there you go. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Trina, for joining us all the way from Kansas. You're an absolute superstar, a shining light, and we really appreciate you sharing that light with us all today.
Thank you so much, Cullen. I'll come visit you in Australia soon enough.
We would absolutely love that. Take care. Thanks so much there, Trina. All the best.